Everybody. Welcome to the show. Apologies for the delay here. I'm trying to get this recording software to record, basically. So we'll start over. Start the software over. Today is April 7th, 2022, the year of our Lord. My name is Conrad, and how are you, buddy? If you are listening to this, thank you. You're listening via the live Podbean feed. If you are downloading this, maybe you found it on iTunes or Spotify, or maybe you're one of the kind people that listen on Patreon and support what we do here at the OK Taco Show. So, regardless of how you're listening, I appreciate it, and I hope that you continue your patronage. And if you haven't started that, maybe consider it. It's just patreon.com/Conradio. And you'll get access to not only this show and all the other shows that we do, the OK Taco Show, those guys from Wichita, any of the shed shows that we do, but also bonus shows, where we do all kinds of stuff, naked stuff. A lot of it's inappropriate for children. So if you are a child or if you're under 17, a lot of this stuff's rated R. So be careful with what you might hear. It's not meant for you. Okay. I know kids are growing up faster these days, and a lot of the jokes I tell are probably fine for any age of child, but just be cautious about it. Listen first as a parent, and then, make the decision if we still have control over that. So, anyways, where are we at totally on how we feel about snoring? Um, is it annoying to you? Is it erotic? Like when somebody's laying next to you and you love them and they're snoring because they're tired, is that, do you wake them up? Do you shuffle the covers? Do you put a pillow over their head? Do you leave the room? Do you turn something up really loud and kind of, or say something like real weird and out of context to where their subconscious wakes them out of it? Like sometimes my wife is laying next to me and she's snoring like that, and I might yell something like potato. She'll shuffle around and get into a different position, and the snoring subsides for a little bit. So I didn't know. The only reason I bring it up is, as you guys know, I like to listen to. I've actually been getting more and more into music, which is odd. I took a break from listening to any kind of music for, I'm going to say, from about 2009 to about 6 months ago. If music would come into my ears, I would completely shut down. I wouldn't listen to them, to songs. I wouldn't listen to their words. I wouldn't listen to the melody or the beat of it. I was disgusted by what music has become, and I still am as far as modern music. And I know that's an old man thing to say. You know, I think that every generation of people, as they get older, they remember the songs of their youth, and they remember those songs fondly. Yet the new stuff, they're like, oh, this new age music's just not for me. It's just not any good. I need to listen to something. I need to listen to NSYNC. Okay, that's good music. I need to listen to the Backstreet Boys and Shania Twain. That was the good music when I was a child, when I was an adolescent. And the crappy thing is, I think the reason that I turned my back against the arts, the musical arts, is because all of it was garbage when I was growing up. I mean, you go to a middle school dance or a high school dance, that's supposed to be, that's the music that you're creating these memories to. You know what I mean? You're going, taking your date to a high school dance. Well, what's on the radio? What are you listening to? And it's like, we're listening to Brian McKnight. What? Yeah, listen to this song. He counts to 4. Okay. Then he starts back at 1. It's a really erotic song. Um, we didn't have anything good. And so I turned my back on it. I said, fuck you, music. You've done nothing for me. You've embarrassed me more than anything. All of your artists that came out when I was in between the ages of 13 and 20, you're all posers. You know what I mean? You're making up shit. You don't even like what you're doing. You're just doing it for a cash bag. So the point is, it's supposed to be, Pat, you're a good musician. One, you're supposed to do something that nobody else has done. And it can be within a genre that it already exists. But your job is to create something that nobody else has created. And not just do what you know will sell just because you know that there's a payday at the end of it. And not the delicious candy bar. A big ass bag of money is what's at the end of that rainbow. And they didn't. And they still don't. So from the years 1994, maybe even earlier, 1993, and some people could argue that the 80s should be mixed in there. And I'll listen to that argument because people hate the synthesizer and shit like that. But fuck off. I mean, I kind of like that. To me, the 80s, anything that was in the first Rocky movie, if it's Survivor, yeah, that's genre defining music. You get to the goddamn 90s and the 2000s, these people are, it's shit. It's shit music. It's whiny, and or it's payday. It's like 5 guys that are looking for a payday and dressing in white suits and singing about being on a mountain. Like, shut up. So I fucking hated music, okay? And I just started getting back into it. But because I was out on music for so long, I started listening to talk shows, whether it be on the radio. Like sometimes when I first started listening to talk shows, it was all sports talk. I didn't know that another version of talk shows existed. You know what I mean? I thought that, well, I'll just listen to these guys talk about, baseball or the draft or analyzing the game or something, and it's better than the music. At least they're talking about something that did happen or will happen, and I can listen to different opinions about it and different approaches to a topic and all that. And it was intriguing. So I started that way, but ultimately that led to other shows, political shows. It's like, how can this guy sit in a studio and talk about what's, political discourse that's going on in the country? How can he do that for 4 hours every day? Like, that would be maddening. And I was always amazed by the guys that were able to do it, not whether what their message or their opinion or their bullshit bias take on whatever the issue is, and also understanding that a lot of these guys, it's the same kind of thing. They're saying a bunch of stuff just to get money at the end of it. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have these beliefs, but they'll say them because they know they sell. A perfect example is like Glenn Beck. That guy's going to use every fear. He's going to take fear and capitalize on it. So he takes everything that we're afraid of as humans, and then he cries about it and makes a big ass bag of money. And so none of the shit that he's actually, in air quotes, concerned about is actually affecting him. It's much the same reason I can't stand to listen to any politician. You can't, or anybody like that, because you guys aren't making policies for the world that you live in. You're making policies for this weird bubble world that you created that we all live in. And that shit is maddening. So I shifted my gears from sports and politics, which is the only, growing up in freaking Kansas, that's all that they will play. On the talk shows, it's not as if Howard Stern was on, but there was a show, Don and Mike, that started poking its head into my ears. And once that started, it was all over. So I started listening to that show, and then those shows all evolved into podcasts. And once I got into that, then you start mixing in people that were previously on the radio, but they're either their stations all flip formats to Bob FM kind of style shows or political slash sports. And these guys didn't fit that kind of category. So they all started podcasts. And that's when I decided, after listening to them for a year or two. And so in 2010, I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I feel like I can. And so since then, I've been doing it. Luckily I've had 10 years to practice with nobody listening. And so other than my, we have a handful, a dirty dozen of people that have been on board for a very long time and understand what we're doing and get our jokes and like the reverence of our, I think that's why they listen, because it's a distraction from what everything else that's going on and all the other shows that people are talking about. But I've tried to recently expand the different shows that I listen to, because I was stuck in a loop of the same 3 or 4 shows. And I think that that's okay, because you get a taste profile of things. These are the shows I really enjoy, much like I hope that you enjoy my show. But at the same time, I think it was important for me, and it is important moving forward, for me to see what other people are, because these shows are wildly popular podcasts, and they make an extremely large amount of money, and people fucking really enjoy them for whatever reason, or at least, or they're all part of this gigantic network that people enjoy one thing on that network, yet all of the shows that are within that network are all benefiting from it. And people don't actually really like these people, but they're almost forced, because it's like it gets recommended. It's like if you sit around and you're Googling self tanner, you know what I mean? And then 2 days later, you have all these recommendations on your Facebook feed for self tanner. And if you're a fucking 35-year-old man, 36-year-old man, should you be Googling self tanner? And should it be erotic? No, but it is sometimes, because that people will put of them putting tanning lotion on, and that's nice for people to look at sometimes. That's why they made the video. So the reason I bring all that, I told you all that to tell you this, is on one of these new shows that I listen to, there's a producer on that show who doesn't talk very often, and that's probably for the best. It's probably a good thing that he doesn't say much, because he's an idiot. And he was brought into a conversation that these 2 people were having about how much sleep they're getting. And I think it was all related to COVID. Like the host and the co-host both contracted COVID recently. So they're one of these late hitters to the COVID game. And they're going through like all their symptoms and how they felt and sleeping. And they bring in this other guy that's their producer to ask him, like, what are you, well, how do you sleep, Gilbert? And fucking Gilbert said that he snores a lot when he sleeps. So a solution that he does, he's married. This guy is married, and he's older, he's older than I am. He's in his 40s. He's married and in his 40s. Has a career producing really popular shows. So you would think, by all accounts, an intelligent 40-year-old man. But you got to remember something. He also has been surrounding himself by legitimately crazy people. He lives in California, and it's not like the normal part of California, which, we have some people that listen to us out there, and I have to believe that there must be some normal part of California, because they understand what I'm saying, and they get my jokes and they enjoy that. So all of California can't be filled with kinds of crazy people, but Gilbert, the producer, has been surrounding himself with crazy people for who knows how long. I mean, he's got himself in a position to produce one of the most popular podcasts on the planet. So you would have to think you've been around not only celebrity guests, but just the two people you're around on a daily basis are both wildly out of touch with the real world. These two people that got COVID, right? And one's a comedian, the other one's married to him or dating him. Okay, that's the hosts. And I'm not going to give their show a plug, and I don't. There's absolutely, I would never. There's no reason to. But Gilbert comes on, and he says that, well, I sleep fine. I've been getting good sleep, but my wife will sometimes be asking me questions as I'm trying to fall asleep, which um, my wife, as much as she will ask a tremendous amount of questions throughout the day, she actually doesn't do a lot of that at, like, when we're laying in bed, especially if it's, I'm gonna, you know, a lot of times the way that I watch TV in our bedroom, and be quiet, Christians, I can do that, is I'll be on my stomach in a glamour shot pose. So I'll be on my stomach and I'll have a pillow under my head, and typically my hands will be folded underneath my chin atop that pillow, and I'll rest my chin on the hands that are supported by the pillow. It's a perfect viewing angle. And then a lot of times, if I'm lucky, my wife will sit down next to me and she'll pull out that big, and you've seen the commercials of these big thunder gun things that massage your muscles, and she'll run that thing over my back and my legs, and it's just a terrific little evening, and we'll watch whatever we're watching, um, and then if I get up, she'll get her video game out after that and start playing it. So she'll sit back and kind of build herself a pillow fort behind her back, and then sit there and play whatever ridiculous civilization game that she's playing on her laptop. And I'll usually continue watching TV, or I will roll over. And once I do that, she doesn't ask me any questions. I'll get where my head is on the right side of the bed, the correct side, the pillow side, and I'll fall asleep like that. She doesn't ask me any questions. But Gilbert, his wife starts asking him questions, and I guess he has a problem answering them, um, because he puts tape on his mouth to sleep. All right. And I don't, you got to be a special kind of stupid to, and the part that was maddening when listening to this show is, I guess he started putting tape on his mouth. I've seen the commercials where people will put mouthpieces in their mouth, and they're supposed to keep your jaw at a certain angle to prevent you from swallowing your tongue or whatever it is you do when you snore, from your neck collapsing from the tremendous amount of weight that you've put on over the years, and now you're snoring, or the angle that you're at and now you're snoring, or whatever it is. You can wear this mouthpiece. But Gilbert's like, well, I don't like stuff in my mouth, so what I do is I just tape my mouth shut. Like, don't put, if you're listening, don't tape one of the places you get air from shut, and then, like, trust your body to know what to do. You know what I mean? Because if you're like me, there's a time when I'll get a booger. I call them nighttime boogers. I get a nighttime booger. I didn't even know it. It'll completely roadblock one side of my nose, right? And a lot of, for whatever reason, if I'm laying down and I'm laying on my stomach, I usually like to fall asleep on my stomach. But if I cock my head to the right side, so I'm laying on my right ear, I can breathe fine. But have you ever done this move? Like, I'm not falling asleep. Moved your head to the left side. You can't even breathe. Like, it feels like you're claustrophobic. Like, what's going on? There's no air on this side of the room, which it shouldn't matter, but it does for whatever reason. And Gilbert's going to die. You can't put a piece of tape over your mouth, because in the middle of the night, you might get one of those nighttime boogers. You're going to wake up frantic. You're going to wake up like you just fell in the water. You're going to have a dream that you fell into an ocean and you can't breathe because you put tape over your mouth. You're 45. Is it about snoring, Gilbert? Does your wife not like it? You guys got to have a conversation. At least get some of those strips that Jerry Rice used to wear, legendary wide receiver, some of those Breathe Right strips or something, and pop one of them on your nose. Don't tape your mouth shut, dude. But the fact that it's the maddening part is the people he was telling this to, the celebrities he was telling this to, the famous people he was telling this to agreed with them. They said, I've heard about that. Oh, yeah, I've heard about that. People doing that. That's common. No, it's not. It's not common. You guys are what, and that's what I mean. I listen to these. It's it's a very similar feel that I get when I listen to politicians talk about what's going on in the world. Like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? You know, what the fuck are you talking about? Like recently, I heard um, this this gentleman that is Joe Biden's son, President Joe Biden's son. Um, his name is Hunter, right? And for the longest time, Hunter loved computers, okay, and he even had his own laptop. And so fucking during the presidential run for 2020 election, um, DJ was up there on stage being like, "Yo, we got to take a look at Hunter B's laptop," and everybody's like, "No, don't do that." And I was in the crowd, you know what I mean? I wasn't at a DJ crowd or a Biden crowd, but I'm in the crowd at home going like, I don't really give a shit what is on Hunter Biden's laptop. You know, I don't care. I imagine whatever's on it is probably just as bad. All these assholes are the same assholes. I mean, Biden, Trump, all of these guys are the same guys that are on that plane that's going to Sex Island with Jeffrey Epstein. It's not any different. You know, they can sit around, we can point fingers at this guy's got a lot of crazy stuff on it. It's not crazy to them. These are guys that put tape over their mouths to sleep. So everybody wanted to know what's on Hunter Biden's laptop, right? Well, nobody found out, and it got buried, and then all of a sudden, right now, it's coming back to light, where they're releasing some of this shit or whatever. And of course, it's debaucherous and disgusting, and all of these different things. And okay, it's not that I doubt that exists on his what was on his when he dropped it off at Ribbit Computers or wherever he dropped it off. I totally believe that all kinds of crazy shit is on this dude's laptop because he is been a billionaire since he was born. I mean, they create policy and they make themselves riches with the policy that they're creating. And so they give each other fake jobs and fake titles and make fake money and live that world. And he's got to do it with his under the wings of somebody that's doing it for him, you know, being his dad, vice president, senator, you know, all the different positions that this man's held for so many years. And this kid is he's literally born with a silver spoon. And that silver spoon is used to cook up as much fucking crack as he can fit in it. And so, yes, he's got pictures of all that shit on this laptop because he takes pictures. They automatically upload to the cloud, automatically go to the laptop. I don't think that he had like one of those old cameras with the SD card, you know, back when you used to have digital cameras. And he's like, oh shit, let me take a picture of this cocaine that I'm about to do so I can then take this SD card out and put it in my laptop. No, dude, this is all this is all iCloud stuff. And so it gets hacked and people have his pictures of him doing this shit. But the crazy part is they were talking about him on the thing, and I guess he has a house in Malibu. Surprise, but he's not paying for it, or maybe he is paying for the home, but they have to have special security because he's the president's son. So they have to rent another house for the security guys to stay in, you know, to watch over this who's like 50, to watch over this 50-year-old that nobody would know. You know what I mean? If Hunter Biden walked into a Ace True Value, it's not like people like, oh my God, that's Hunter Biden. Nobody fucking know who this guy is, but yet, oh, who lives there with the 58,000 security guards? That's Hunter. But it's like, you know, it's almost, you could have just been safe from any threat had you just not had all this attention around you. But instead, you hire all these security guards. Anyways, the whole point is it costs $30,000 a month. I'm in my house for 2 weeks trying to make sure that I not make any mistakes on my taxes. And it's like, I don't even make $30,000 a year, baby. A year. After everything, after it's all said and done, after all the cost it took me to go do what I do for a living, I don't make that. And this dude's getting it in a month, and it's not even part of his job. It's just we got to pay. And so what I'm sending my money in for is to pay a portion of that, supposedly, is to pay for this. And it's, to me, I can't listen to you guys talk anymore. Fuck off. I don't care what you guys are saying. The rich and the famous, that's a bubble, man. And so I get the same feeling when somebody comes on a show and says they put duct tape over their mouth to go to sleep, and I go, that's fucking crazy. I get the same feeling when somebody says, oh yeah, we'll spend any amount of money to take care of our responsibilities to the president, and that includes his family and their protection. We will spend $30,000 a month. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Because most of us out in the bubble that you guys are ruling over, we can't comprehend that kind of money. And it's just, you're so out of touch. Everybody's so out of touch. The rulers are so out of touch with us. The celebrities are so out of touch with us. They think that we want to see what they're putting out. We don't. It goes back to my music. We don't want to listen to your shitty fucking music. It's not good. And so when I say I get back into music, I'm not listening to anything. Shit I'm listening to now that I'm liking was around in the 70s. And it's not the stuff that is played on classic rock all the time. The same 6 fucking songs by Kiss and fucking Aerosmith and Rolling Stones and the Beatles. I don't need to listen to Hey Jude for the 18th millionth time. As great a song as it is, But I discovered through the help of my uncle and, even through Mexico, like, why don't I just listen to these older songs. And so I've gained an appreciation for it. And it's funny because I find myself now being more like, somebody says something on a show that I'm listening to, like, I like to put duct tape over my mouth, go to sleep, and everybody agrees. And I'm like, well, I'm turning this shit off because you guys are fucking nuts, and I turn it off and I turn on one of these old songs. And I come home and I tell my wife, there's no way I'm going to put, I might snore, and I know that I do, and she likes to record it, and that can go both ways. So she better be careful about that. But I'm not going to put duct tape over my mouth for you. Not, not in that way, at least. Maybe if we're playing like cops and robbers or something, and you're the robber, you come in there, duct tape me up, and have your way with me. And I don't know if I'm into that. That's a 50 Shades of Gray thing. I never liked that kind of stuff, and it's out there, baby, and everybody knows about it. But it's always weird to me to think that that's like a fantasy for people, like wanting to hurt somebody, but not so bad. Like and people accept it too. That's what's so strange too. People accept that, and I guess that's fine. But it's not. It's definitely not in my wheelhouse to want to be tied up or taped up or have like somebody whip me. Like, they have those, not just paddles, they got those one string things that people will whip each other's butts with, or even tickle or pour hot candle wax on. And I don't know, it's, to me, I think that you should, whatever you enjoy, when you have your own time, when you have your own self time, which people, I know people still do that. So if you got a moment with yourself, whatever you're doing with yourself in that moment, that's probably what you should be into. So, like, if you're alone and you're just pouring a hot candle all over you while you're having your alone time, then I guess I get it. But I think that it should emulate what you do when you're by yourself. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, if you're not into watching um people stack a bunch of center blocks on somebody to where they can barely breathe, and then having a relationship, then making love with, let me put these center blocks on you so you can barely breathe and make love to you. Like, if that doesn't turn you on, don't try to mix it up with shit like that in the bedroom, you know? And I think that sometimes people are reaching for that. I think a lot of that is what that is, where missionary pilgrim style is not fun for people anymore. And so they try these other things and they get into this weird world, almost cult like world of doing weird stuff. And it ultimately ends in somebody else having sex with your partner, is what that stuff ends up in. You start with role playing. 99% of the time that ends in your wife having sex with your neighbor. That's what that happens. Or like a friend of the family, who's always been nice because he's always wanted to bang your wife. That's what that ends up in. So you got to be careful when you go down that road. And it starts with people accepting putting duct tape on your mouth to go to sleep. That's how that whole shit starts. So the moment you put duct tape on your mouth and be like, I'm doing this so I don't snore and I breathe out of my nose, it's better for me. All right, well, I hope you're happy, because your wife, who you're trying to be polite to, now knows she can have sex with a family friend. That's what happened. That's when you did that. That's what you unlocked the door to. And you thought that door was not even in this hallway, but it is. It's right there. And the moment you put that tape on your mouth, you unlocked it, dude. You unlocked the Indian in the cupboard, who she's blowing right now. um oh, speaking of out of touch and music and all that shit, dude, you know can somebody call Blake Shelton for me and tell him he's not a farmer? Okay, you're not. And it don't matter if you stop making music, bud, and you bought your farm in Oklahoma, and you're just like, I'm just going to be a farmer from here on out. You're not. Okay, you don't get to go live the life that you lived, get paid an absorbent amount of money for the garbage that you produced, and then use that money to have every advantage in the farming world, and then make stupid TikTok videos saying, oh yeah, I'm planting corn. I know I'm supposed to be planting it on the 10th or later, but fuck, I'm going to do it now. Shut up. Nobody cares about your corn, Blake. Nobody cares that you're planting it. Nobody cares that you're a farmer. Okay? And it's fake. You're a fake farmer. You're going to plant a bunch of corn that you're not going to eat. You're doing this shit because you're trying to have a real life, because you're out of touch with the real world, because you're in the bubble, or the outer bubble, that we're not in. Farmers aren't in your bubble, bud. When farmers to the bank, it's to ask for money that they don't have. When Blake goes to the bank, owns the bank. Okay? So you're not a farmer. That's my dad. He sold tractors for. That's great. Your dad was a great tractor salesman. Okay, good. And you kept it. Good for you. Good on you. You're not a farmer, dude. So chill out with the videos talking about farming. Sorry. But he's not the worst of it, bud. The worst of it's coming. It's coming pretty soon. I save these on Facebook when I get them, and it sucks that I have to get them, but fucking Jason Aldean is a country music singer also, and he probably knows Blake Shelton. And he's got a couple songs that are new. And this is the problem. This song is going to make this guy money, right? Which is fine. We're all going to make money. But he, in his mind, thinks that this song's worth money. And that's the part that's frustrating to everybody, because it's not. And he didn't write it, luckily, I guess. So he didn't have to take all the blame, but he decided to record it and put it out there for people to listen to. And they are, because they've been brainwashed into, this is something that people like. And I hope that someday somebody slaps him on the back of the head and says, "Cut this shit out." But he wrote, he recorded a song titled "God Made Airplanes." um, and the funny thing is about that, it's not the worst song that he's recorded recently. But Brad and Brett Warren pinned this song, and it's the mid-tempo tracks. This is from Taste of Country. If you don't take this publication, I encourage it highly. They created this mid-tempo track, and they find the persona in the painful aftermath of a recent breakup. Oh, wow. I've not ever heard a country song that has to deal with breaking up. Rather than joining the boys for a night out or turning to a bar to drown his sorrows, he pines for an escape trip 30,000 feet above ground. Here's the chorus. That's why God made airplanes and runways and half-price tickets one ways. If I could get high up off the ground, ain't got the wheel, can't turn around. Show me a place without her in it. I'll be there in a New York minute. What? If I'm driving, I might hit the brakes. That's why God made airplanes. God didn't make airplanes, bud. He didn't. As a faithful man myself and a Christian first, father first, Christian second, or vice versa. Even I'll give glory to God. I will be grateful for my opportunities. I'm grateful for a lot of things, and me and Jizo have talks all the time. But I asked him last night if Jizo made an airplane, and he said he didn't. Dude, God didn't make airplanes, and he certainly didn't make airplanes because you got a little bit heartbroken. What are you talking about? When people break up with somebody, they don't have the money to be like, I guess I'll just get on a plane. What are you talking about? I'm gonna get on a plane. We can't, dumbass. We can't. We don't have any fucking money to get on a plane. Yeah, I'm gonna get on a plane and go on a vacation, take a break. That's why God made airplanes. No, he didn't. He made them. If God did make airplanes, he made them to carry bombs, dude. What are you talking about? That's why they started. Or to do tricks on them. Those guys that do somersaults on the wings and stuff. That's why God made airplanes and runways and half-price tickets and one-ways. If I could get high up off the ground, I ain't got the wheel, can't turn around. What? Oh my God. That's why God made airplanes, buddy. Jason, what did you have to say about this song? Anything? God Made Airplanes is the latest offering from Al Dean's double album, Macon, Georgia. He lives in Florida, by the way. Macon, early in November 2021, while Georgia is slated to arrive in April. So get ready, guys. Other early previews of Georgia include Whiskey Me Away, Rock and Roll Cowboy, and My Weakness, and the current single, Trouble with Whiskey. So that's two whiskey songs in it's a double album. Okay. But I don't even know. I'm not making it up, guys. These exist. And if you didn't know that, I'm glad I'm here to tell you. This is a real thing. And people, like, what do you do for a living? What do you do? You're a janitor? You a cook? You work at a restaurant? Do you work in an What do you do? This guy wrote this shit and makes more money than you'll ever make in your life. And from this garbage. And he didn't even write it. Somebody said, sing this. And he fucking did. So being in the Midwest, being from Kansas, being in Oklahoma, you do run into a lot of um, legitimate cowboys, legitimate farmers, legitimate rednecks. You even run into people who have made a fortune with oil and machinery and their trade, welding, all that stuff. You can find people who have made good money doing hard jobs like that. And maybe they're fans of country music. But I guarantee you, none of these guys think that any of this shit is authentic, good, or represents them in any way, because it doesn't. And especially, you can't write a song with Brantley Gilbert. They sang a new loud and proud anthemic new song, Rolex on a Redneck. um, let's see what that lyric is. Rolex on a redneck. Lyrics. This is a mistake. All right, here we go, guys. Brantley Gilbert wrote this, had the help of Jason singing it. So both of them accepted that this was a song. They decided, yep, gonna put my name on it. Well, I've been working like a dog on a slow grind. No, you haven't. A couple side hustles, doubles, and some overtime. And that's true, because time is money ticking out here on this rural route. Can't take it with you when you go. So I'm all about the sun up to sundown. Just trying to be the Warren Buffett of this town. Yeah, this work can't put a house out in Malibu. It can, but let me tell you what it can do. It can put a Rolex on a redneck. It can put some inches on your big block Chevy. It can put a Yeti on your back deck, slap full of long necks. Camo on your brand new Benelli. That's a gun. Yeah, it can put some pearl on your snap. Oh, yeah. Some gator on your boots. Yeah. Girl on your lap, because your paper's to the roof. This turning dirt life might not put a millie on a paycheck, but it can put a rollie on a redneck. Mm, mm. Oh my God. Hey, sing that again. So poetic, guys, and very country. What's the second verse? Slap a bam, slap a barn on a farm, white fence, and don't forget to give the good Lord his 10%. And when you do, it'll do what it does, put a new church where the old church was. Plus a Rolex on a redneck, it can put some inches on your F-250. Yeah. It can put a Yeti on your back deck, slap full of long necks, camo on your brand new Benelli. Yeah. It can put some pearl on your snap, some gator on your boots, girl on your lap, because the paper's to the roof. This turning dirt life might not put a millie on a paycheck, but it can put a rollie on a redneck. Mm. I love this song. It's just so relatable. I love listening to it. What is it? What's the title of it? Oh, Rolex on a Redneck. Yeah, that's my favorite. I like listening to that song when I'm out my tractor, uh, stuck in the mud, getting a rollie on the redneck. I got my Rolex on. I got paper to the roof. I got a Yeti on my back deck. I do. Okay. Final verse, guys. Let's see how this wraps up. And if you're wondering, yeah, the chorus is a paragraph long, and they say it 3 times. That must be the anthem part of this. Um, the verses are very small, so here's your verse. Tick tock, yeah, homeboy. If you want that wristwatch, you better get rolling. Don't stop, don't stop, because time is ticking. Tick tock, tick tock. Fuck off. This is garbage. This is a garbage song, guys. But no, it's not. It's not. Do yourself a favor. Google Jason Aldean's house, about a new one in Florida. Go ahead and do that. And then do me a favor, read the lyrics to this song again. Oh, yeah. It can put a Rolex on a redneck. It can put some inches on your big block Chevy. It can put a Yeti on your back deck, slap full of long necks. Camo on your brand new Benelli. Yeah. It can put some pearl on your snap, some gator on your boots, girl on your lap because your paper's to the roof. This turning dirt life might not put a milli on a paycheck, but it can put a rollie on a redneck. That is sad, guys. That's kind of people put tapes on their mouths to go to sleep, dude. That's what I'm saying. Fucking, this is a bubble world. Turn off Yellowstone. Turn off the fucking country music. Um, do yourself a favor, man. Go for a run. Smoke a cigar. Don't listen to these idiots because they're wrong. They're wrong. You don't want a Yeti on your back deck. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's an $800 cooler. Okay? That's what it is. You can buy one for $13. You could probably find a used one. There's fucking used coolers all over Oklahoma on the roofs of houses that people just discard. It's fine to slap full of long necks. Okay? A Yeti on your back deck. Okay? Oh, man. That's sad. That's where we're at. Oh, one final thing here before I get out of here. After I get done with the show, I'll be meeting up with Shannon. We've been working on the taco truck. I put all new screens in it yesterday, which was kind of fun because I didn't know what that entailed or how that would go. I've never replaced screens before. It's actually very simple, surprisingly simple, and it's kind of one of those things that's so satisfying that you want to start thinking about other things you can screen in. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I could make a, you know what I could make? I could make like a nice little seating area, put screens on it. I mean, that's the kind of feeling it gives you. Um, so we replaced the screens and we're making a new door that we're going to serve out of. And yeah, it'll be filled with screens. So don't worry. So we'll also do a show this afternoon. It won't be live, but you guys will have access to it tonight. Um, so before I get out of here, though, I wanted to talk about there's many indicators that we live in the film Idiocracy, that we're there. And I forget what year that was all supposed to be um, happening. I think it was 2050, and we might get there sooner. Okay. Because we're there now. Just a Rolex on a redneck, or That's Why God Made Airplanes, those being popular country songs should be very good indicators that we're there. Okay. Spending $30,000 for Malibu homes for a month, that should be indicators. Putting tape over our mouth to go to sleep should be indicators that we are at idiocracy level. Okay. But the most idiocracy thing I've seen recently is I was watching the national championship between Kansas and North Carolina. Tremendous game. Not a huge fan of college basketball, but had watched both those teams perform a couple times. whether it be in that tournament or in a different tournament. And so kind of had some familiarity with the people participating, which made the game funner. And then the gigantic lead swings in the game were made it fun, and it was back and forth in the very end of it. So it made it a fun game. And whether that's set up or rigged or whatever, doesn't matter, because who cares? But it made it fun to watch. But on halftime, I didn't really want to listen to Charles Barkley as much as I like him talk to me about the game, or Grant Hill, or any of these other analysis. So I turned it, and I was lucky enough to turn it to Fox News when Tucker Carlson was on. Okay. And Tucker Carlson will say some of the most ridiculous, outlandish shit sometimes with a straight face. And I enjoy that. I think it's hilarious. And so he had this lady on, who was talking about, apparently they're flying, I guess, immigrants from Mexico or South America. They're flying these people in, and they board a plane, they're flown here, and then even Texas today was saying, like, we're going to bust them up and drive them to Washington. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And these people don't have shit, and that's what's so sad about it. These people come here, and we can argue all day about whether they should be allowed or all, like, what are you talking? These people don't have shit. They don't have anything. They're escaping with no knowledge. They're escaping no opportunity, trying to go to a place with opportunity. Now, is there a better way to go about this? Probably. There's got to be, because this doesn't seem like the best way. But nobody really seems to ever talk about, like, oh, we need to help. We need to help these people have a easier access to get over here. And I don't think that, like, well, let's send them planes and bring them, but I guess that's true. And it seems that for the most part, I don't know. I guess I don't know who to believe on anything. So, but usually most of the people that I meet in my life that maybe are immigrants or whatever that have come over here just are going to work, and they're not taking anybody's job, because maybe you haven't looked around, but nobody fucking wants to work anyways, including the immigrants that got here and became Americanized. Like, they don't want to go do a shitty job for $12 an hour. So I don't know. But anyway, I'm not here to preach on those kinds of things, because I don't know anything about them, and I wish the people that are preaching about them that don't know anything about it would shut the fuck up. But they have to talk. And so Tucker's talking to this lady, and she's like manic. She's extremely upset that these planes are landing, and secrecy with immigrants, and then they're getting on a bus and being driven to, like, different parts of the country, and just given a phone and maybe a per diem or something, and be like, well, keep your phone on you, we'll call you about immigration, and then see you later, say la vie. And she's going through all this thing. So I guess it's a pretty hot button issue. And Tucker seemed concerned as she was talking to him. But the funniest thing about it, dude, the idiocracy thing about it is, on the bottom of the screen where the scroll happens, they'll sometimes have a scroll of, like, up next, that pirate guy, Dan Crenshaw, will be here, or up next, whoever is going to be the next guest or the next topic. That wasn't what was on the bottom of the screen. So he's talking to this lady about airplanes landing and immigration, but on the bottom of the screen, it just says, Hunter Biden puts M&Ms on his private parts. I couldn't stop laughing, because it had nothing to do with what the conversation had nothing to do. And that's what I'm saying. That's how I think we're there. That's the most idiocracy thing. You just put a message on here that does not relate to what you're talking about. It's to disgust or inflame people by reading this message. It's yet, who gives a shit? Like, if Hunter Biden covered himself in M&Ms, or melted them down and painted himself with M&Ms, I don't give a shit. What does it matter? But apparently people don't. They like to judge. They like to be judgy about what other people are doing. And that's fine. But to me, it reminds me of like eat at Fuddruckers, or if you don't eat at Fuddruckers, fuck you, or I'm watering this with Gatorade, or like, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous. So, anyways, I don't know what we learned from today's show. I think that if anything you can take away, there is life that you live. It's normal. And then there's the life that people think that what they're doing is affecting your life. And it does, but not in the way that they're trying to do it. And because they have not been in your bubble. We're in a bubble, we're in under the dome, and there's all these people like Jason Aldean and that producer that puts tape on his mouth and Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. They're all outside the dome. And everything they do, us in the dome, we got to sit there and listen to and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But don't be discouraged because the dome exists. You're not wrong for thinking that listening to this shit is stupid. Hearing about these kinds of laws or these problems that people are talking about that don't seem to be like a real problem, it's not. It's all fabricated. Okay? So just take some take a breath and take some I don't know what the right word is. Con- is maybe condolence or I don't know. Take a moment to understand that you're not alone in thinking that all this shit that people are talking about is crazy. Whether it be dumb old Will Smith slapping dumb old Chris Rock, who gives a shit? Whether it be Hunter Biden putting M&Ms, who gives a shit? Because they're wrong. We don't care. They think that we do, so they keep forcing it on us. But for the most part, we don't give a shit about it because we're just trying to get up and go do the work that apparently nobody else wants to do. So keep doing that, and you're not alone. We're all there with you. So, anyways, if you want to support the show, consider supporting on Patreon. Um, it's free there also, but we do have a pay side with other shows. So that would be helpful. It's $5 a month. And if you just want to, you know, like the YouTube page, like the Twitch page, like the Facebook pages, all that stuff's Conradio. You can find it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the show. You'll get access to everything we do. This show, the OK Taco show, those guys from Wichita, any of the other shows that we do. And then maybe we can convince you, if you become a subscriber to the free side, maybe we can convince you that what we're doing is maybe more like what you like, maybe a distraction from this shit or a show that calls out all this bullshit. So anyways, consider it. I appreciate it, and don't let your meatloaf, guys.